Travel with me.
Hey fellow humans, Mina here. Welcome back to another Drive and Talk, Hanoi edition. This week we're going to continue on with the series with the first official book in this series. Although last week's book, The Assassin's Blade, you could check it out in the card or the Booktube or the now Throne of Glass series playlist. But this is the official first book. The last book chronologically takes first, but it's a bunch of novellas. But it was also published later, so some people will read it sometime later, I think after Crown of Midnight or something. I can't remember the reading order. I read it first because it's not only chronologically first, but it was, first in the box set that I have. But the book we're talking about today is the actual start of the series, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. So before we get into it, I'll just give a quick little read of the blurb. And just by the way, again, I haven't listened to the audiobooks to this series yet, and some of the names are questionable on how to pronounce. So this is just how I pronounce them. If you have a headcanon for how you pronounce them, great. Or correct me if I'm wrong or whatever. But yeah, anyway, getting into it. In a land without magic, where the king rules with an iron hand, an assassin is summoned to the castle. She comes not to kill the king, but to win her freedom. If she defeats 23 killers, thieves, and warriors in competition, she is released from prison to serve as the king's champion. Her name is Celiana Sardothian. The crown prince will provoke her. The captain of the guard will protect her, but something evil dwells in the castle of glass, and it's here to kill. When her competitors start dying one by one, Celiana's fight for freedom becomes a fight for survival and a desperate quest to root out the evil before it destroys the world. Now, getting into the review, I love this. And spoilers, by the way. I truly did, but that doesn't mean this book didn't have flaws, so it's time to rant on another 5-star read. Though I am thinking of lowering it to 4 stars now that I finished the series. But yeah, anyway. In this novel, Celiana is kind of a bad assassin, because she's supposed to be an assassin. I mean, she still reads as a good enough assassin, but she's described as being the best of the best, and her actions just don't justify that claim. In Assassin's In Assassin's Blade, she was far more badass and lived up to her title more than she does in this novel. I get that she was in Endovir, basically rotting away for a year, but if I hadn't read Assassin's Blade first, I wouldn't have been as good a judge of a character I wouldn't have been a good a judge of her character as I do after reading Throne of Glass. And I hear Assassin's Blade, though a bunch of prequel novellas, actually comes out later in publication, so people new to this series as it was coming out didn't get to see Celiana being the badass assassin that she was. In this book alone, she doesn't test food or drinks for poison or even assume that they have poison. She sleeps like a log and doesn't wake when people enter her room, which is often, and then some. Though her time in Endovir changed her a bit, I guess that can explain some of it. I'm just saying she's not as badass as she was in Assassin's Blade. Also, I don't think this series, or this book at least, is a romance. It just has a romantic subplot. Spoilers, I will so be proven wrong with this in later series, in later books. That in itself isn't my issue. My issue is the fact that it seems Maas is setting up a love triangle, my least favorite trope, along with the miscommunication trope. Sure, we know Dorian and Celiana like each other enough for kissing, but I don't know about y'all. I'm getting vibes that Cowell is into Celiana or jealous of her and Dorian or something. He never states he's into her romantically or even as a friend, but that's just a vibe I get. I like him more than Dorian, however, Kyle that is. Dorian is nice and all, but I found Kyle to have more of an interesting personality. If Maas wants a romantic subplot, I hope Celiana ends up with Kyle as they spend more time together and have more in common and have much better chemistry, in my opinion. Again, spoilers, I will completely be proven wrong in later books. Now, I did like the premise of this book. It gave Hunger Game vibes, a series which I adore. We have a tournament, not to the death, however. but people can die, and training leading up to the big duel. My only issue was with how it was handled. We are told that there would be tests. It's capitalized for some reason. And in these tests, the champions will be eliminated. And while we see a bit of these challenges, we're mostly told that they happen off page and we didn't get to see any of the cool action. Even if some of it sounded like some of the tests were lame. Instead, we get Celiana reading books most of the time, which, fine. I love books too, obviously. And learning is essential for being an assassin, but she doesn't do much to help with her cause of winning the whole thing. I mean, yeah, she trains a lot, but the stuff we do see is pretty mundane. We get a bit of action when some of the competitors are killed off in pretty gruesome ways, however. For some reason, Kyle lets Celiana examine one of the corpses like she's part of the castle guard. At least I enjoyed that plot line and how Celiana learns who was behind the murders and why. In fact, that was more interesting than the main competition story itself. All in all, I thought it had some flaws, and I'm sure there are way more than I mentioned. I just can't recall them at the moment. I still really enjoyed my read, and I'm very excited to see what happens next in Celiana's adventure. How about you guys, my fellow humans? Have you read this series, and did you start with this book first, or did you start with Assassin's Blade first like I did? Oh, and yeah, let me know whether you agree or disagree with me and the thoughts in the comments down below. Anywho, that's all I gotta say for now. If you want to keep hearing more about stuff, be sure to follow me on all your favorite socials. Links below. Stay safe and take care. Bye!